All Rudy, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Episode 4. And there's a scene we've got to talk about. Straight off the bat. Hi everybody, we're getting right into it. We have to talk about it because I don't think that I really addressed it effectively at the end of the last episode. And since then, over the week between then and now, that one scene has played through my mind again and again and again. And I'm fascinated by how quickly it wiped itself from my immediate memory and then sunk in a little bit deeper. Because as the episode progresses, the scene happens and then it's gone. And of course, the scene I'm talking about is within a tenth of a second, without any warning, Rudy takes a knife to his own throat. In an instant, in a moment, with no warning. That scene, and that element of it, has been in my mind. It actually scares me. It actually scares me. I don't get afraid of shows very often. It's too easy to see through. But that is so correct and terrifying and human. I've never had true suicidal ideations. Never had them. And so, in some real sense, I think of myself as safe. Because I've never had those thoughts. But what if I did? See, I think of myself as stable for the most part, sturdy for the most part. But as I've been thinking about that scene over the past week, I keep imagining this idea of like, what could I withstand? And my arrogant internal compass says, anything. Gimme. Okay, what degree of pain could you withstand? You know it's going to be over. It's only going to take a second. You have to endure for 1 second and experience. That's all you need. Some degree of pain, some degree of despair, some degree of sorrow and torment. You know going in that it'll be over in a second. That's all it'll be. You get $1 million at the end if you go through it. Do you? Before this episode, I think my answer would always be yes. 1 second of temporary feeling I can deal with. Now I think my answer would be yes, so long as my hands are tied. Because the truth that scene gets to is that you're only as in control of yourself long term as you are in every individual moment. And that's why I drew what I drew up here. Rudy's on this path. He can't see where it's going necessarily, but he's on this path. And we talked about it over the couple of episodes before. You might not know where you're headed, but at least there's this feeling like maybe there's something worthwhile. There's the holy relic, and there's this idea of the past and the people who've helped you before, and that's pretty good, and that's a reason to believe that people might help you in the future. Good. And then there's the payoff that you get from the good deeds that you do for others, and that seems to fit into some worldview that's like, well, there's somewhere to move beyond this, even if I can't see the end game, the end goal. And so you position yourself in flux, in flow. There's behind you, the past, and it pushes you forward, and there's an ahead of you, the future, and it pulls you toward it. And you're set. You're in the middle of these things and pulled along inexorably toward the future. And that's your sense of self and your sense of being. And in some part, the idea of ending, of ceasing, of dying, is to shit on everything in the past and to refuse everything in the future. It's an active and conscious choice to step off of this path that you might be on, even if you can't see it. The one that you believe is worthwhile, hop off it, and there's no getting back on. Of course you wouldn't make that choice. Of course you wouldn't, if you were aware of all the pieces, but you're not. but you're not, because you're not a rational entity, you're an emotional entity. Because you are not bound by reason and by past and future. You're bound by the emotional tenor of now, of this particular moment. And in this particular moment, if you were overwhelmed by despair, you would be unable to reason it away. There wouldn't even be time. You wouldn't have a moment to think, oh, but I'm throwing my future away. Oh, but what of all the people who are counting on me? Oh, but what of all my connections? Oh, but what of the past? Oh, but what of all of the work that I've done before? None of that comes to bear. None of it comes into your mind. How could it? It's an instant. And so all the reason and all the rationality in the world is no defense against a moment of suicidal despair, an instant of it, and that terrifies me. Because I had this supposition that all of the mental preparation and mental health work that I could possibly do would have some effect. And it wouldn't. Now it'll allay a whole lot of the other forms of depression and sadness and anxiety and fear and all the other things that contribute to suicidal moments and ideations. But in a circumstance like this, where the weight of the world slowly builds and then cracks and crushes you, shatters and falls upon your shoulders, it is easy for me to imagine the most well-rounded, centered, effective, thoughtful people doing exactly what Rudy does and taking that knife to his throat. And when I say those lines, I mean me. I mean myself. A person who I can look at and say, no, I would never. And I mean it. I would never. I have been in deep despair. I've been in dark places, and never, ever have I thought suicide was the way. But that's not an indicator that it could not be otherwise. I have had emotional experiences where I've been utterly overwhelmed. Not down a suicidal path, but down others. So, care is what I take away from that. A bit of a sense of... a bit of a shaking to the perspective of being a conscious entity who's in control of yourself. Because you're not. And if you think you are, you're a fool. As soon as you can recognize that you're not that conscious and you're not that in control of yourself, well, then you can take strides to put barriers in place, to put patterns and habits, thought processes and feelings in place. Now, I don't have an answer for the moment of... I don't. Partly, perhaps, because I've never experienced it. Not quite. But it shakes me. It shakes me. Months ago, I posted a video on the channel called Being is Good, and I posted it shortly after my friend and roommate came home from work one day, shell-shocked, having learned that one of his coworkers had stepped out in front of a moving vehicle the night before. No warning. And I mean truly no warning. Dude was, from what I know, in a care facility of some kind for psychology or drugs. It's unclear to me. Was in the car with his mom. Stopped the car. Was talking, fine. Stopped the car, got out of the car, stepped into the next lane, and is gone. In moments. Where did that come from? How did that happen? That was a person. And now it's mush. If you asked him the day before, would he have said, yeah, I think I could probably kill myself if I were shocked and distraught for a second randomly? No, of course he wouldn't think that. And neither would you. And neither would I. And any of us can be susceptible to it. Now that's a different circumstance than the one we see with Rudy, where we've had a long build to this. And the feeling that we've had that Rudy is coming out of it has not been so. Has not been so. For the same reason. Because all of the layers of little tentative rebuilt habits of like, well, if I go outside, maybe I don't get exploded. That's good. Well, if I go and I help people, maybe they are helped, and that's good. And if I go and I apply myself, maybe I could have friends, and that would be good. Maybe they won't reject me, and that would be good. All of those little things that we were rehabituating don't do anything when you take Rudy and you smash him back into you're an abject failure and you've caused harm. You suck, monster. Nobody will like you. Oh, it's over then. Oh, it's over then. Fuck this. And we're dealing with a character who's not someone who hasn't experienced death before. Rudy's died a couple of times in some way, in some real way. First, he died to get here. This world isn't his original life, right? And you could imagine that Rudius, as a person, might have habituated something else, which is you're miserable and shitty and hellish and everything is bad, awful. You die and things get better. It happened before, right? Why not again? Could happen again. That's something that we actually do have to keep in mind, is that Rudius Grey Rat has a bit of a weird perspective on death, considering that he's done it before, and none of us have. At least as far as I know. Sorry, if you've been declared legally dead, that's a different story, I think. Did your brain get teleported to another world? No. No. And if it did, you don't remember it. But he also died mostly when Big Dragon Man obliterated him and pulled his guts out and fed them to him. He didn't actually do that, but you know what I mean. So Rudy's got an odd perspective on death. Sure. But still, man, still. An instant. A moment. And it's all just over. It's just gone. And it's happened in a moment, and then Soldat is inviting him away, and we're heading out toward a different location, and then I'm trying to reconcile the episode and put it all together, and it just sort of slips away from me. In some sense, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to address it. I don't want to even look at it. My character just tried to stab himself in the throat with a knife. The poignantly identical knife that he purchased with the girl that he went on a date with, and then was unable, not just unable, but like fully unable to even recognize his own mental state as he was engaging in the courtship dance with her in order to recognize that he was super not having it. Partly, I would assume, because Rudy's whole mentality is like, the sex is here. There's no there. There's no, wait, I would have an emotional response that would prevent me from even wanting to pursue a relationship with somebody, maybe as related to the trauma that I experienced the last time I gave my heart and soul away to a woman. Oh, it's not there. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it figured it out at all. But it's all in a flash. It's all in a moment. You know, it's like, well, Rudy needs some help, right? Rudy needs therapy, right? Right. I agree. I don't disagree. But would it help? Genuine question. If during these weeks, months that Rudy's been running around this village, however long it's been, and shoveling snow and stuff, he spent, an hour or two, a couple times a week, going into some random building and talking to a nice middle-aged person with a notebook, doing talk therapy of some kind, or cognitive behavioral therapy, like whatever form you choose. Did therapy for that period of time, was thinking about all these things and thinking them through. And still ended up in a circumstance where he face-to-faces with crushing erectile dysfunction, the inability to be a sexual entity, and then the next day, before he gets to go back to his therapist, says some things right in front of Sarah that cause her to hard reject him. Would he still try to stab himself? Yes. Yeah. Probably. So there's a problem there. Because the therapist isn't usually there in the instant where you're next to your gun safe. Not that you should probably have a gun safe, to be clear. But I do live in the United States, and a lot of people have gun safes. Certainly a lot of people have knives. If I were standing in my room right now and I were overwhelmed by an absolute sense of need to kill myself, I've got the option right here. Regardless. If the therapist wasn't there in that moment, if Soldat wasn't there in that moment, I think Rudy dies. Pop. So it raises a serious question. Does all of that preemptive work account for nothing? I don't think so. I think it would make it somewhat less likely. I'll admit that. But does it all account for nothing in the face of a momentary emotional wave? Yeah, I think it might. Because in the same way that you might not be able to tell yourself everything about the future that might be and the past that has been and all these things, that you might not be able to engage your tools and techniques. You might have the best breathing technique for calming yourself down in the entire world, but if you don't ever think to engage it, it doesn't appear as an option. So that scares the shit out of me. It scares the absolute shit out of me. I can't even convey that to you. And I wanted to talk about it here because I don't think I did a very good job of talking about it in the last episode. Again, because it was sort of just gone from my mind. I think it's brilliant. I didn't want to think about it. We move along and the next piece comes in. But what an amazing accent. What an amazing little turn to the story. Really, truly incredible. I'm kind of awed by it. All of the build-up to it is so damn good. Woo! Okay, I want to read one comment. This is from Gremon3140. My favorite part of this episode is something that I feel many people either didn't notice or ignored. The episode, I felt, did a magnificent job showing how out of sync his mind and body were the whole time. First, like you mentioned, he never realized what was going on until he saw others' reactions. Then, at the bar, his mind is saying things like, I need to move on, be cautious, but make a move. His hand, however, never touched her. It hovered like it was going to. On the surface, it did what his brain wanted, but never actually committed. His body language during the whole date was exceptional at showing that he wasn't comfortable at all, especially when she did move forward. You were right at every turn. Rather than push forward, like his brain was telling him to. He tried to deflect, prolong, divert, and avoid. He was and is terrified, and it all came to a head when he failed. And in his weakened, panicked, distraught state, she drove the dagger in deeper and twisted, all while completely oblivious, and in an effort to protect herself from her own feelings of inadequacy and pain from the apparent rejection. This episode was painful to watch. Both Rudy and Sarah messed up and were hurt. Rudy's voice actor delivered, especially during the scene with Soldat in the bar. The pain and pleading in Rudy's voice was palpable. Last thing I will say, you mentioned many times you don't know where Rudy is right now. How about zero hesitation knife to a throat? That's where Rudy is right now. Yeah. Rudy was caught between what I should do and why is my body not doing that? Unconsciously throughout the episode. Brutal. Where is Rudy right now? Zero hesitation knife to the throat. Yep. I said I would read only one, but I'm wrong. Bill 7037 can totally relate to the panic. I had a TIA, transient ischemic attack, mini stroke, a few years ago and lost the ability to speak for a few minutes. Actually, I did too, oddly. It was during a JoJo's reaction, and it was reading. I just just like gone for a couple of hours, and then it was back. Super strange. It's amazing how distressing and panicked you feel because you know what you want to do but just can't. She says the worst possible thing to him, unfortunately, but in the end, I think she was looking for him to tell him. Looking for him to tell him she's sorry. Ellis might be what Eris looks like in the future, given what Hilda looked like. Nice that Soldat was quick on the ball. And this line is the reason that I wanted to read this comment. Nice that Soldat was that quick on the ball, because that was a good representation about how quickly someone can decide to commit suicide. They haven't named it the Call of the Void for nothing. And I think there's something to talk about there that's worthwhile. It's very much like being on the edge of a cliff. You can spend all the time you want thinking about it. Once you go over the edge, there's no stepping back. And you got all the time to fall. And it's not very long. Woof. And we'll leave it there. And move on from there into the next episode. Episode 4. We turn away from this town. From Sarah. From Counter Arrow. And we join up with whatever the fuck Soldat's group's name is. I forget their name. They're gonna go to a labyrinth. It's, this is what the guy does. He clears labyrinths, he gets paid. Big buco bucks. I assume that this will lead Rudius closer to things that might be out there that we're looking for. Elise has arrived in the town where we just were, and is fucking people to find Rudy. And because she likes to, you know. What are you gonna do? It's Elise. So, we've got people who are one step behind as they seek out Rudy. And, of course, on the other side of things, we've got some nobles and a white-haired Fitz who is, like, also looking for Rudy, and who we might run into. And there's a thing far away going on with the mom somewhere. And all of that might have something to do with the big dungeon that I think we're about to enter. We haven't really spent a lot of time in, like, dungeon territory, and I'm excited by that because it's part of the classic world building of a world like this. Who the fuck is our character going to be when we meet him today? How's Rudy? How's Soldat gonna treat him? What kind of a group are we about to meet? I don't know. Is Rudy going to be glazed eyes, dead inside? Or having made the move toward death the once, is he going to be more conscious? That is, will he be like the Rudy that wandered out into the blizzard to find Sarah? Or worse? I don't know. Let's go ahead and dive into the episode and find out. So, I've got Season 2, Episode 4 of Mushoku Tensei up and ready to go. Patreon Early Access. Beep beep timer to count you down. Let's get into it. Whoosh, and we're into the storm. Snowy, icy, and very, very cold. There he is up front. Haha! Baller. Lasta Grizzly! The Red Dragon. Alright, he's a crucial part of the squad. Okay, a crucial tactical part of the squad. Gross. What was that he said about a red dragon? What was that you said? Oh, that. Hello, friend. Hi, buddy. Huh? Oh my god. Oh, that's great. And he's going straight forward. Okay, he is himself, it seems. Again, in the panic of the moment, Rudy reemerges, well... You bet it gets worse. Give me a cool stance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. That was a hell of a sequence. That was pretty cool. Dude, he basically just soloed that thing. Hey, man. Did you just crush all the teeth and claws that we were supposed to get? Oh, terrifying. Hey, good job, bud. And he's got the smile. And no response. We only lost 1 or 2 people there, right? That's great. No, that's real shit. Okay, he's built up the reputation. How long have we been traveling together? But he doesn't give him any shit for it now. Another place to stay. Another place to put the little shrine. Thank you for yet another day. Survival level? Yeah. Hey, it's a town. His little ponytail's growing out. Becoming like his dad. And like Soldat. Beefing and caking. God, that's so funny. I think that's so funny. Content in the simple stuff, huh? And the story is being told of him. Hey! Hey! That's my song! Oh well. Silence. She's here? Oh my god, she's here. She's here. Huh? What? Dude, she's... Who the fuck are you? Yeah! He has no idea! She? I've been looking for you for a long time! Oh no! No! Not after what just happened, Elise. She does not love. I mean, actually, yes, probably. Actually, yes, she probably wants to eat you right up. Yeah, every dude in the bar is like, Oh, fuck off. Fuck off, guys. And here she is. Oh, Darling. Darling, back away. The boy is fragile. The boy, actually, if anybody's gonna fix his little problem. If anybody could fix his little problem, I really think I'd... Excuse me, why are you touching me? Yeah, you and everybody else. You and everybody else with legs or without, honestly, don't need them. Oh my god, Alitalis. Woo! You're great. You You have no idea, my dude. Yes. Dude, she's trying to fuck you in the bar. What? Oh, it does have an elvish sign to it or something. Wow, the dude just hanging there. No, what is it? What is it? Oh. Huh? No. Oh! Right. She says, I never tease men, and what she means is, it's never false. It's always teasing, it's never false. Oh. What kind of good news? It's even longer. Rapan. Okay. Okay. So, train through? Okay, train through the winter and then go when you can. Oh, I don't know about that. So you're not the only one doing this. There are others on the job. And we get a growth montage a little bit. Oh. All day, every day. Yeah. Yeah. Good for her. Yeah, and good for her. Yeah. How can you not? Mm. Yeah, no problems at all. Oh. Body and mind, eh? Nothing. Damn, man. Wow. So this is the part where some therapy would be great. Be really important. I can do without wishing for anything more. I promise. I'm fine with this. Awful. Yeah, you can lie to yourself all you want, buddy. Dude, that's not what... Not at all. Hey, she might be able to fix that. Does she know that? Does she know that? No, seriously, does she know that? Because if anybody... Of course it was good. Are you joking? Rage! Wow. Dude, experience pays off. A few? Just a few? Mmm. Mmm. Absolutely. Oh my god. Guys. Judge. Judge. Not even looking on that. She's capable of killing them if they get uppity. She pays them to avoid catching feelings? That's amazing. That's amazing. Elite. Yo, she's got it down to a science. My girl. I love her. She's so great. Yeah, fuel yourself. All the testosterone into the muscles. Doesn't have anywhere else to go. Oh, dude, she's gonna make a move on you. Hora. Oh. Oh! Oh! Cool. Yeah, I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty great. Just reading over the shoulder. Is there a political play here? Oh, just to have you around. You just get to hang out. Oh, Jesus, that's awesome. You're just... You're basically associate faculty. You can just do whatever the fuck you want. You can just do whatever the fuck you want. Make connections with the most powerful people on the planet. Oh, you don't get it, man. Yeah. This is networking. Okay, is she... Nope, good. They really want to study you. Oh, and for publicity. That makes sense. But I think they're doing it because of... Because of... Sylphie? I guess not. He was a knight. Yeah, nobility. Well, everything exploded. Everything exploded. Oh, and he's crying. Oh, and he's crying. Oh my god. Yeah. Why? It all... That's so cool. It all sort of collapses there. Why are you out here doing what you're doing? It's like, whoa, my whole life got shattered. Nice. Oh, Oh, today's my day! Alright! Alright, Conrad, good for you. No, I have to contribute to this. Just utterly straightforward about it, too. Interesting. Crucial choice. Not a turning point. Are we in Dreamland? We are. Hi. It's been a long time. Yeah. Yeah, what are you about to shake up for us, man? Sure. I don't know about somebody found her. It's great. It's great, but... This is a nice casual conversation. Hmm. You're not a good enough mage? My god. Oh! You're so mean! So mean! Yeah! Why? Okay, why do you want him to go there? Uh-huh. Go to the university. But why? Fucking asshole. No, it's certainly not. But each time it's been important to follow the path regardless. Hmm. And he's in. And he's in. And he's in. You shoo. Asshole. Son of a bitch. Fucking glowing douche. Oh, hi. Now that could fix it. But it won't. Look, you can enjoy some of it anyway. God damn, Elise. Yeah. Oh. He'll go for anything. God damn it. Well, I guess we're going to magic school. Gotta fix the dick. It's the only way. Hmm. Oh, she's leaving with him. All right, man. And there, the path in front of us. Yeah, in a good sense, that'll be great. And he steps forward across the threshold again. Did he push him? Did he push him there? So wait, is Alina Elise not coming with? I'm uncertain. No, she is. Okay, so we are traveling with the horny elf. Ha! How was that gonna go? How does she act when there aren't men around? Like... She just keeps doing it. Huh. So... Whoa, is he here? She's here. They're here. Oh, you are gonna get your manhood back, huh? Oh, is she here? Is she here? Oh, shit. Need to meet that character. The fuck? Oh, it's like a teaser on its own. It's like a teaser trailer all on its own. Into the forest and away we go. Oh, we're here. We're just gonna be here? Awesome. Okay, amazing. Cool. And letter of invitation. As straightforward a name as it could be. The first thing I want to do is I want to see that moment when Rudy takes off walking. Does Soldat push him? Yeah, he does. Okay. So it's odd because we do this like momentum shift in the scene. But he does push him, and that's why we get this sort of weird face to it. I think they should have redrawn that a couple of times. There are a couple of frames that are just a little bit wibbly. That's fine. It's fine. It still ends up being the emotional content is there. God, it could have been slightly better. That's okay. There are a couple of cool shots of animation that are unique and weird in this episode. The dragon running around and then thrashing as he throws boulders at it was really interesting looking. Very chaotic and like shattering the bounds of the screen over and over in a pretty cool way. This episode does a good job after our interlude previously. Not our interlude. We had this one pivotal moment, this one peak of a moment with the choice to leave counter arrow and the suicide moment and joining up. And now we spend 2 years over the course of this episode. And it doesn't feel like a montagey bullshit. It feels like real events occur that interrupt a flow that could have lasted much longer. And it feels just right. It feels really good. The episode is not a leap back to season 1 quality in terms of animation or production, but there are elements of it that look really good, and there aren't any elements of it that knock me out of my train of thought or shatter my illusion or my suspension of disbelief. That's really important. Cannot be stated too many times how important that is, because I think it's really, really important to not be shocked out of it and reminded that you're watching media, that you're watching falsehood. Instead, we return a bit to the feeling that's right. We get these moments in the beginning that set the stage, that set the scene, that set the atmosphere, the crinkly of almost crystalline frost on all the branches, the slow marching across. These are really cool. Throughout the opening sequence, we don't show Rudius's face, and I think it's a good idea to do that, up until a moment later. I think it's a good idea to do that, specifically because of the question that I had when we entered. Which Rudy are we going to see? And being able to hold that out and not show us makes it build more tension on that front, and I think it's really cool. Rudy just casually, Soldat just sort of nods to him, and Rudy already is doing the thing that they're prepared to do. It's cool mechanically as like a physical use of power, but it's more important as that he's integrated into this squad in a way. It's not just that he knows how to do the Doronuma Quagmire thing once we're in battle. He's part of their scouting. He's part of their operations. He's part of everything, right? And there's trust put into him. throughout this. Once he comes down and he says the thing about the Grizzlies, nobody in the squad is like, he must be lying. This newbie, he doesn't know. No, they all trust him immediately and implicitly. He's telling them the truth. He's there on their side. They believe in his ability. All right, Doronuma, and he does the thing and drops them down. This portion of the fight is fine. It's kind of bland. It doesn't do much for me. Of course, it is all waiting until we build up to the dragon. So we get this slow turn, and this is the closest we get to seeing a face. And then the screech. And here it comes, and it sure do come. Whoosh. It's a cool-looking dragon. And as it batters through these sequences, it's very snappy. It's very quick. How do I put this? There isn't flow to the dragon. It's jerky in its motions, and that makes it very scary to me. Yeah, it's very jerky in its motions. Punch, punch. Very cool. Really interesting. And I think nails it. And then we are off, and this sequence where it's careening through and smash, crunch, ba 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 ba. Super cool. Super cool. Actually reminds me of some of the cuts in Pacific Rim. Within the city when they're fighting at one point, with the like four-legged one is like moving through stuff. It reminds me a little bit of that. That sort of large-scale beast running through environment. Whip the thing off. Up he goes, and he's running straight toward the danger, but without a suicidal tendency to him. And straight up the snoot of the dragon and across, which is a badass sequence. It's as cool as could be. Very not what I would normally expect from Rudy. He's a support mage, right? But instead he's throwing himself into danger, but again, I don't have that feeling that he's trying to kill himself by throwing himself into danger. This and the sound design on it, really cool. And then hup, 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 and a blast as he uses snow and blasts it all away. And we reveal his face in between. We accent it really, really nicely. We get really, really clear. And that's our first reveal of our character's eyes in the sequence. And they're not like they were before. They're narrowed and slitted and ready. And so he fires and he attacks. It's cool looking. And this, as we move, we shake the camera past it for the impacts. Is that what is that? That is what it is. Okay. So the effect that I was talking about is here. He blasts these rocks. Boom, boom, boom. Cool impact frame. And then when the first one impacts, we see it coming in from the right. And it goes past. Our camera is going to go with it to the left. And then it goes past and through. So we get pulled across just as the dragon does by the impact. And then we pull the camera back to it. That's cool. And then we'll do the same thing again as the others impact. Yeah, no, a little bit less. Really cool writhe from this dragon, though. I wonder who's responsible for this sequence. This is really cool. I wanted to look at it, and yeah, it ends up being exceptionally cool. Nice job, Rudy! You did it! And we celebrate back at home. The whole squad is inviting him in, and once again, Rudy has cracked through that barrier and made himself truly well known and well loved amongst these people. He's saved a bunch of their lives. He's done a lot of the fighting for them, but he's refusing to join, refusing to be a part of a group still. Partly it's the abandonment thing. Partly it's an excuse. Partly it's not feeling worthy. A whole lot of things. This moment where he says thank you for yet another day is pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting turn from the suicidal Rudy that we had for that moment. Another day gone. And he's grateful for it. He's created this ritual of gratitude. It's interesting. The exercise continues, and he's beefing up, of course, and the hair is growing too. And enjoying it, and enjoying the simple, genuine pleasure of growing stronger. It's pretty great. Highly recommend it. Be going to the gym in a couple of hours. It's super great. Highly recommend it. Reputation is interesting. It's unclear exactly how he should feel about it. It's only once they start saying that it's a stupid song that he gets mad. And then, again, even though our episode covers years, right? And we've already covered most of that time. even though it covers years. It doesn't feel like it, and we feel like we move right into the next element, the next moment. And that moment is the arrival of the sexiest woman on the fucking planet. You! Boya! I found you! Goddamn. If I were just chilling eating breakfast, and Alina Elise walked in and was like, I found you, I would be a very happy child. I'm not a child, I'm an adult. I'd be a very happy boy. Also, I really like this tavern environment. All the cool arches and the weird walkway things. It's nice. The background art continues to be top tier. Even when the foreground art and the characters don't match it at all, the backgrounds have continued to be really excellent. Oh shit, he's here. She just walks right up and, who the fuck are you? And man, she is immediately interested. Is she after my body? I guess, maybe I am bulking up and stuff. They start playing the playing the music, and she lays out the truth and keeps moving closer and closer. Just feels him up. Oh my god. Does not stop. Her teasing won't fluster me. I'm not some virgin. This is so funny, because it should fluster you, man. It should fluster you. Good god. So funny. Now, I'm really curious about the finding of the little leaf totem from Sylphie. She treats it as though there's some meaning. So she says, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I was out of line. But really what she's doing is she's just being reminded that she's got a purpose to being here. It's not that the finding of the leaf totem is somehow an indication that you are, like, ordered to be married to somebody. Because that was my actual first impression, was like, oh, maybe that's a symbol that Sylphie owns you. maybe you didn't know. But I don't think so. If it were, then it would mean that whoever's on the other side of who gave Alina Elise one is very mad. Because that doesn't work. There goes my shot. And I think it's so funny that throughout this, Rudy is still, like, in that interplay a little bit. And in that, dance, in that courtship thing, like, oh, I've got a shot, ooh, I've got a moment, even though he knows in his heart, and he's given up in his heart, is like his physicality will not abide. Super interesting. So, yeah, silly me, what was I thinking right now? And he says, I wish you wouldn't tease me, and her response is, I never tease men, which is amazing, because she absolutely does tease men, but her meaning is, I never don't mean it. I always mean it. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. Alina Elise is a really, really spectacular character. I really like her, and I'm so glad that she's joining us for this whole sequence. She is ridiculous, but also extraordinary for getting her name out there and befriending everybody in town, for obvious reasons. Oh my god. The fact that she pays men off to not fall in love with her. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So what's your business? Got to know where Zenitsu is. Labyrinth city of Rapan, near the Beggarit continent. A year or more. So he stays in town and practices. All for little. And she bangs every day, early morning to late at night, with a crowd out there, as you might expect. And good for her. And I mean, truly, good for her. We've talked this through. Her very existence is practically a crime. Of course, I've got no problem with that. In fact, I'd love to get caught up in it. And he is trying to mentally force blood into his penis. He's trying, man. He's giving it a good old college try. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, my friend. It does not work that way. I think this is pretty interesting. You can be consciously, psychologically ready in every way, and unconsciously not. You can be entirely of two minds. It's like people who will say, I really want to blank. But then their actions absolutely betray that. I really want to quit smoking. I really want to be healthy. I really want this and that and this and that, and yet your actions betray you. What you say you want might not be what you actually want. And I think that's a part of what Rudy is going through here. I want to get caught up in this, to get casually mind blasted by that creature, by that over there, by the Alenalese. I'd love it. That's the conscious entity. But the unconscious entity does not. Does not. I want casual sex, says Rudy. And his body and unconscious says, actually, I'd really like to go on some dates first. How about a connection with some trust where I don't think I'm going to get abandoned and crushed and have my heart torn out via my penis? That would be great. I'd love to get caught up in it. No, you wouldn't. You can be entirely wrong about your own desires. Entirely. Top to bottom completely. It's not that difficult. A lot of us are. A lot of us are. Really interesting. A disease of both body and mind. Nope. I've given up. I don't even hope for any kind of relationship anymore. I don't love anyone. I'd rather just look, touch, and admire than face another betrayal. And there it is, isn't it? The truth is right there. Everyone is going to betray me. I can do without wishing for anything anymore. Besides, you know that I can't. And the rage is right there. It's raw. Fuck! How does she do it? How does she do it? She pays them off. Amazing. The letter arrives. I can't go. I have to go after my mom. It's most important right now. And 2 years have gone by since we've talked. And he shows up just to give us a little bit more advice. Don't go to beggar it. You'll regret it. Your PP doesn't work and your spellcasting is mediocre. Do you really want to face Roxy this way? No. Go to the Magic Academy and your ED will be fixed. And you shall regain your potency and pride. So with only ulterior motives in his heart, Rudius Grey Rat sets out with Alenalese in tow, pissing Soldat off in the process, of course, and looks forward into that path that we were talking about before. The same one that I drew up here. Now, of course, it's just a road, right? But, man, that means something, doesn't it? Suddenly there's a road ahead. Suddenly there's a path ahead. It's not just this lie that Rudy's told himself. It's a half-truth. If I spend my time wandering around and solo adventuring, I will make a name for myself and find my mother. It's a dead end. It's an, pun intended, an endless adventure. But here, it's a future. You don't know what it holds, but the future's there. And so I set out. And you've got the past pushing you from behind as Soldat pushes him forward, as it should be. And he's got a companion in Alenalese who is powerful, and that's very good. This is good. This is good. And this scene is just right. Rudy once more steps out over the threshold, and we do another threshold step. We have to do it. We have to make sure that we understand. This is it again. This is it again. And it's so important that we tell this part of the story again and again, because it's a part of the story that you're going to struggle with again and again and again. That I'm going to struggle with again and again and again. You don't get over it once, and then you're over it. It doesn't happen. It's the same struggle as the first struggle. The first one. can't leave his house. Or the one at the end of the season, can't leave that tent. Or, right now, can't leave this town where he feels like he's somewhat safe. Each time, you have to get up the action potential to overcome the threshold, step over it, and move into the potentially dangerous unknown. It's out there. You don't know what this road holds. And when they get to the city eventually, we flash through all these things that they will meet, right? That we will meet. When they get to the city eventually, it's an endless forest, right? There are barriers and unknowns in front of them. And that's exactly right. It's exactly right. A new path opens up ahead of you. You have to be willing to step onto it, step forward, and he does. It's great. That's great. There's one more moment that I think is worth talking about. Don't the Grey Rats govern huge provinces? What are you doing as a solo adventurer? And blink, blink, well, and suddenly he's wiping at his face. What are you doing as a solo adventurer? To even think about it would require dropping back and explaining everything. Well, there was a manic cataclysm and everybody disappeared. And I was with some friends, and we were adventuring as a party, and I fell in love with the girl that I was adventuring with, and then we had sex, and I lost my virginity, and then she left me, and now I'm crushed. And so I've been, right? It's just like, it's all of it stacked up again. It's all right there. All the healing that might be going on, all the therapeutic experience. Boom, and it breaks, and the dam breaks, and the floodgates open, and there it is. Just in an instant. That's so interesting. And yet the path opens once more. And the future looks very bright indeed. And very strange. And very interesting. Cool. Well, there goes the episode of Mushoku Tensei. I feel like we did more discussion at the beginning than at the end, and I think I'm okay with that. That might be continuous. After a week, I get the cheat of having a week to think about it and then talk about the things, as well as the input and insights from all the comments and discussions in the Discord and stuff. It's really cool. Thanks for watching this episode of Mushoku Tensei. We had some interesting conversations and some unexpected arrivals. How very lovely. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week for the next episode. Catch the next one a little bit early via early access on Patreon, and I'll see you for the next one as we enter Ranoa Magic Academy. Peace.